Welcome back to the Badass Broadcast, the space where we break through the bullshit and step into our full divine power. I'm your host and favorite fire starter, the Queen Lady T, and today we are closing out season 1 with a message that's been sitting on my spirit for years. This one's for the kings and every queen ready to see them, truly see them, without blame, without shame, and without the bullshit. So let's get into it.
To rise from the ashes, to take their share. This is your anthem, your power.
So this one is close to my heart because it carries the same name as my upcoming book, I See You King. Now let me be real with you. As I'm waist deep writing this book, I shared this idea with a man I thought would understand. And do you know what he told me? He said, "Don't waste your time. Men ain't shit." His exact words, straight face, no hesitation. And for a second, I sat with that. Just for a second, though. And not because I believed it, but because I felt the weight behind it, the disappointment, the frustration, the generational pain behind those words. But then I said, no, I refuse to believe that. Because while that might be true for some, I know there are men out here who are worth this book. Kings who deserve to be seen, even when the world keeps looking past them. And if I have to be the first to say it, let me be loud about it. I see you, King, even if nobody else does. Now, this same man, he also told me women think they know men, but they don't. And I'll be the first to say he's not wrong. But let me make this clear. I didn't write this book because I think I know men. I didn't write it to fix you, to dissect you, or to turn you into some spiritual project. I wrote it because I know people. I know pain, I know patterns, and I know the power of emotional truth. I'm a certified emotional intelligence life coach. I've studied the psychology of connection. I've lived through heartbreak and breakthrough, and I've seen the ways our wounds left unhealed build walls between us. But what I also know is this: the masculine and the feminine, they're not just genders, they're energies. Energies that live in us all, and that healing we are so desperate for, it doesn't come from one being hard and the other being soft. It doesn't come from one leading and the other submitting. It comes from balance, from union, from integration, from learning to hold both the king and the queen within ourselves. Because when we do that, when we rise healed and whole, we stop fighting each other, we start seeing each other, and we start rising together. That's what this finale is about. That's what this book is about. That's why today, I see you, King. And we're about to go deeper into why that matters. And how we start bridging the divide that's been keeping us at war when we were always meant to be at peace. Now, let's talk about trust. Not just trusting others, but trusting yourself. Because a lot of us, men and women alike, we've been hurt so many times that now we flinch at intimacy. We sabotage softness. We confuse control with protection. We build walls and call them standards. But baby, walls keep out the pain, sure, but they also block the love. Here's the truth that cracked me wide open. Your trust issues aren't just about the people who hurt you. They're about the part of you that still doesn't trust your own discernment. So you start overextending, overcompensating, trying to control everything to feel safe. And then you wonder why you feel exhausted, why love feels like work. But here's the shift. When you learn to trust yourself, when you anchor into your intuition, when you set strong boundaries that protect your peace, not punish people, that's when everything changes. Because strong boundaries don't push love away, they filter out the bullshit. When your energy says, I honor myself, I will not abandon myself to keep anyone else. I know the difference between chemistry and chaos. The universe listens. You stop attracting from your wounds and start attracting from your wholeness. You stop needing people to fix you or fill you because you're already full. And from that fullness, you become magnetic, aligned, unshakable. Because the truth is, strong boundaries don't block love. They make space where love can thrive. Now, here's what we're not saying, but both need to hear. Let's talk about it. The war between men and women that nobody started, but everybody is still fighting. The comments, the clapbacks, the I don't need a man and these women today energy. And let's be real, a lot of it is just pain talking. Unhealed, unheard, passed down, and playing out. We're out here building walls between the masculine and the feminine instead of bridges. We're pointing fingers instead of opening hearts. We're generalizing entire genders when really we just want to feel safe, to be loved, to be understood. And then I keep seeing this trending post. I was raised in a family where women made it happen with or without a man. It was posted like a badge of honor. Over and over again, I kept seeing it on different pages from different people. And I get it. Survival is a kind of strength. But let's be honest, that is not the flex we think it is. Because what it really says, I was taught to do it all, carry it all, and never rely on anyone, especially a man. And that wound, it gets passed down generation after generation until we don't know how to let ourselves be soft, until we don't trust masculine energy. Not outside of us and not within us either. And now we're all tired. Men, women, everybody. Tired of performing roles instead of being whole. Tired of the battle. Tired of the proving. Tired of the pain. So let's say what really needs to be said. To the kings, you were never meant to carry it all alone. It's okay to feel, to want, to need. There are women who won't weaponize your wounds. There are women who aren't here to fix you, but who will hold space while you fix yourself. I see you. I honor your process. I believe in your rise. And to the queens, you don't have to shrink your softness to stay safe. You don't have to perform strength to prove your worth. You're allowed to receive. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to be protected without being controlled. This isn't about taking sides. It's about breaking cycles because the feminine isn't here to compete with the masculine. And the masculine isn't here to dominate the feminine. They are meant to dance, to align, to unify, to rise together. Now let's answer that golden question. How do we begin to bridge the divide together? So here we are at the edge of the wound, at the root of the rage, and under all of it, the longing. Because no matter how loud the pain gets, no matter how thick the ego armor is, we all want the same thing. To be seen, to be safe, to be loved without condition. But baby, that kind of love doesn't happen by accident. It takes soul work, shadow work, sacred work. Not just for them, but for you. So how do we begin to bridge the divide? Let me tell you. 1, we bridge it by taking personal responsibility. Not for what they did, but for how you show up. Your triggers, your expectations, your patterns. Because healing doesn't come from blame, it comes from awareness. It comes from asking, what am I bringing to the table? Love or survival? 2, we bridge it by softening our defenses without sacrificing our standards. This isn't about being a doormat. This is about being divinely discerning. Strong boundaries, open hearts, clear standards, soft energy. You don't need to be guarded. You need to be grounded. 3, we bridge it by learning to communicate from the soul, not from the wound. Let me repeat that. We bridge it by learning to communicate from the soul, not from the wound. That means less of you always and more I feel. It means choosing honesty over ego. It means listening to understand, not just to defend. Because real connection starts when we stop trying to win and start trying to see each other. And with that said, I want to throw this in. You ever hear someone say you're just listening to respond as if that's always a bad thing? And I want to say this with love. How else are we supposed to communicate if we're not responding? See, there's a difference between responding and defending. A response is rooted in presence. A defense is rooted in pain. One comes from your soul, the other comes from your wound. And so often we shut down or lash out because the other person's response wasn't what we wanted to hear. So we label them as dismissive or cold or not listening, when really they're just being honest. They're not attacking you. They're just not mirroring what your ego wanted. Communications mean you have to be open to hearing things that challenge your perception. It means listening to understand, not to collect ammunition. It means being okay with being uncomfortable sometimes, because that's how you grow. If you're constantly getting defensive when someone reflects something back to you, it might be time to check, are you speaking from your soul or from your scars? And when we learn to communicate from a healed place, where we're not just performing, projecting, or protecting, that's where intimacy lives. That's where union begins, not in perfection, but in presence. Now moving on to number 4, we bridge it by doing our inner work, masculine and feminine. No more leaning too hard into one and abandoning the other. The feminine within you, she needs safety, softness, space to feel. The masculine within you, he needs purpose, presence, and permission to rest. When those energies are in union within, you stop attracting chaos without. 5, we bridge it by choosing grace, because not everyone is where you are. Not everyone has done their work. But we don't heal through shame. We heal by modeling what it looks like to love with depth, to walk with integrity, and to meet each other, not in perfection, but in truth. And here is the truth. King, queen, we can't heal each other, but we can hold space. We can hold hands. We can hold vision. We can choose to show up for the sacred union within us and between us. That's how we bridge the divine divide, not by force, not by fixing, but by remembering we were never meant to do this apart. Now, before we close this sacred season, I want to share something incredibly special with you. A few years ago, I connected with someone online who much later, I discovered sometime after I published my own poetry book, that he is an amazing and soulful poet. We didn't know each other personally, but the energy was there. You know, the moment when someone's words feel like they were written straight from your soul. That's how I felt reading his poetry. And recently I started noticing more and more of his posts coming across my feed. And every time it was like my spirit paused to listen. His words, they didn't just sound beautiful, they carried something. A deep, divine, masculine energy that didn't just speak, it honored. He writes to the divine feminine with reverence, with power, with soul, and it moved me. So I reached out and asked him if he would like to create something together. Something sacred, something for this moment. And he said yes. Now, originally, I had planned to close this session with that powerful spoken word poem, as his incredibly gifted divine masculine energy and soul language truly inspired this finale. But unfortunately, timing had other plans and he wasn't available in time to join me for this episode. That being said, the poem we created together is still coming. So make sure you're following the Badass Broadcast in your favorite podcast platform or my podcast website, my YouTube channel somewhere. Make sure you got the bells clicked and all that stuff so you can get a notification. And keep an eye out for an upcoming poetry break where I'll be releasing that special piece in its full glory. It's sacred, it's deep, and I promise it'll be worth the wait. And I was going to hold off on telling you the name of it, but y'all, it's fire. The name of the poem is called The Bridge to Us, and it is a duet with this person that I will not name. It's a surprise, and keep a lookout for it. It will be out soon on the Badass Broadcast. Well, just like that, we have arrived at the end of season 1, but this isn't goodbye. This is a crowning, a moment of remembrance, a deep breath for your soul. If you made it here to this final episode, to this frequency, you are the movement. This season, we've laughed, cried, healed, raged, released, and remembered that we are not broken. We are becoming. We've dismantled the lies, reclaimed the truth, and stepped boldly into the work of divine union. Not just between men and women, but within ourselves. To every king listening, we see you. We honor you. We're not waiting for you to be perfect. We're ready to rise with you in truth, in power, in love. And to every queen, your softness is not weakness. Your strength is not shame. You are the sacred blueprint. You are the standard. You are the source. So whether this was your first episode or your 21st, thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for making this space sacred. And guess what? We are just getting started. Season 2 of the Badass Broadcast returns this November, and baby, we are going deeper than ever. From pleasure and power to sacred self-respect and healing while you lead, we're elevating the whole damn frequency. But in the meantime, let's stay connected. Join the Elevated Soul Tribe on Facebook. Book your free badass breakthrough session with me at unstoppableBadass.me. Because this isn't just a podcast. It's a soul-led revolution. And I'm so grateful you're a part of it. Now, take this truth, take this love, take this fire, and go reign. Again, this is the Queen Lady T, your host, your healing hype woman, your favorite fire starter, signing off with season 1 of the Badass Broadcast. I see you, I love you, and I'll see you next season. Until then, remember, you are an unstoppable badass, worthy of everything your heart desires. Let's get it.
Unstoppable spirit, hear the call. This is your anthem to conquer it all. It's the Badass Broadcast. Feel the flame break.
Want to keep this momentum going? Join the Elevated Soul Tribe, my free Facebook community where bold souls rise together. Book your Badass Breakthrough Session, a free 30-minute call to uncover what's been holding you back and shift the hell out of it. Love what you're hearing? Make a donation to support the show and help me keep these badass episodes coming. And hey, Don't forget to like, rate, review, and share this with someone who needs a little extra badassery in their life. You are the magic. You are the movement. And baby, we are just getting started. I'll catch you next week on the Badass Broadcast.
Here's the one to be. With every word, let your spirit soar. This is the podcast you can't ignore.